All right, Martin Guitars has updated their Junior series, and I have to say they have made some serious improvements to the guitars.
That's right. These guitars have always been great for players who want to have Martin tone in a much smaller size, but now they've actually made them better. Today we're going to go over what has changed, take a listen to these guitars, and figure out if one of these should be your next Martin guitar.
Beautiful and sweet, I never knew you were the someone waiting for me, 'cause we were just kids when...
So what exactly has changed, John? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's a great question.
I'm so glad I asked too. I love asking the great questions.
You ask the good questions, I give the good answers. Martin has taken an already great lineup, made these guitars better. We said that earlier. Let's talk about what these guitars have, what some of the upgrades are, why it's important to folks. And one of the new upgrades I think is going to be one of the biggest consequential one is the full scale length, a 24.9-inch scale length. No more adjusting to that smaller scale. And
yeah,
I think it feels so much different from your other guitars.
This is what sets this apart from all the other smaller or travel size guitars is, and I've heard this complaint a lot, which is I practice on my travel or small scale guitar. It's comfortable to play on the couch. It's comfortable to play everywhere. But when I go to play my main guitar, it feels totally different. And it will, because the stretches are going to be easier to play on that travel size guitar, so you're not going to work as hard to get used to those.
So that's something folks are really going to notice as a big change. It already comes on top of all solid wood guitar builds, so it's going to have that solid Sapele back and sides for these models, as well as a spruce top on it, which gives you a little bit more fuller sound. A lot of the smaller body guitars and travel guitars, they do laminate.
Laminate back and sides. Yeah,
it makes them maybe more durable for travel, but it doesn't sound quite as good. We've talked about that before in the past. This does have a thinner beveled fretboard edge.
So this is bringing that same thing that they did to the standard series, which actually originated out of the authentic series, which was making it more comfortable neck shape. It's beveled, it feels worn in and played, so you don't have those sharp edges, and it actually makes for a more comfortable feeling.
It's surprisingly how much more comfortable that feels in your hands. So
it does.
Again, another really good upgrade for that. They also did the rounded bridge for a smoother feel to it. So a little less traditional looking from the Martin thing where it starts kind of flat and then arches up. This kind of just does it the whole way. Just a different...
Not all of them are going to have that, by the way.
Okay, well this one does and that one doesn't, John.
That one has a modern belly bridge. This one does have a more traditional one. But again, it's more rounded in their style. They're not doing the hard edges. Just, again, like what they did with the standard series as well.
Just taking a little bit of the
You
edge
were right.
off.
You saw it. You were correct.
I stand corrected. That's not on all models, but some of them they did upgrade to that. It is kind of a cool, more modern take on the bridge, and probably a little less labor intensive for them too, I would assume.
Absolutely.
Even though a machine probably does that bevelly for them. So either way.
Another major upgrade is the Martin E1 electronics. Again, this is what we saw in the Road series.
To find out where the button is for the tuner. It's in there.
You have a tuner that is built in. You have a volume and tone control, as well as a phase button. Easy to see tuner. And again, these are the upgrades that we're starting to see in a lot of higher end guitars, which is not making them permanent installs into these instruments. You can upgrade that electronics in the future, but this is already a really good pickup system.
And it's pretty much the system they're using for the Road series in general, right? So it's a big upgrade for their smaller body travel guitars, the Juniors. So
Correct.
also a good upgrade. The new satin buttons, again, they're not on all guitars. I'm looking at yours. Yours has the open gear, more traditional tuners, but this has that new modern closed satin, which is very attractive looking tuner on there. So I'm guessing there's going to be a couple different packages based on which body you choose.
Yeah.
This being more the cutaway, more modern design.
This one is the Dread Junior in one of the new finishes. That's actually one of the things that they're also bragging about. Is this now includes the StreetLegend Burst, and again, this is to mark with the Street Legends that we saw in the
You
standard
mean you
series.
didn't actually wear that one out, John? You've been
I
playing
did
it?
not wear this guitar out.
I thought your technique had gone downhill a bit.
This is that same micro sprayer that sprays the finish with pigment so that you can see the image. And again, taken from an actual guitar that they had. I'm assuming that at least that was the case in the early ones, where they are actually taking guitars out of their museum and replicating them, the look of them on these instruments. Again, from a distance, it does look real. This one's going to be a little bit controversial.
Pretty strong wear pattern on that.
I think you're going to see that
They
people...
let Willie Nelson get a hold of it for a while.
And I think it's partly because of the bursts. Bursts were not as popular in the 30s, so there was less of them. And it was a different style of finish. They did wear off a little bit different. They tend to have a little bit more of a crazy look to them. I'm going to do it, Jer. I'm not as huge of a fan of this particular Street Legend.
Hey.
I love the other two. But
Different pattern for different
I
folks.
know some of you
think is
guys
what
are
they
going
call
to
it.
come in there and look at go, this is the greatest I've ever heard and seen. Yeah.
Heard with my eyes.
The bags on these are fantastic, very nice,
Very durable.
thick, very plush interiors that fit very, very well.
I think if you're going to call it a travel guitar, or something that people plan on having in a vehicle, you have to have a pretty durable case, even though it's not going to be a hard shell case. It is a really nice padded gig bag, so a good deal there, I think, as well.
Of all those features, we hinted on it a little bit earlier. I think the biggest one that a lot of people are going to be talking about is the 24/9 scale length.
And we do have some novices to our channel that may not be as in the guitar geekdom as you, and even to a small degree I am, and a lot of our viewers are. So
Did you call
scale
me
length,
geekdom?
you
I don't
are
even
the
know that's a word.
geekist. You're the leader of the geeks. Scale length, so from bridge to nut.
Correct.
That is a 24.9, which is standard guitar.
It's a short scale. Now let's make this. It's a full size scale, but it is a short
Is this the
scale.
same as the Billy Strings model?
This would be the 24/9 that would be in there, or 25 inches in his case. This would be closer to what Gibson did as their short scale 24/9, 25 and a half. Sometimes you'll see 25.4. So again,
standard.
that would be the full size Dreadnought full scale length. Gibson came out with the 24/9s, a little bit shorter, a little more flexibility. But again, in this particular case, it's a bigger deal than just, the difference between a 25 and a half and a 24/9. Most of the guitars that we see in this range are at 24 inches, 23 and a half, much smaller scale length all the way around because they're travel size. And why that's a big deal is this is going to translate so much easier back over to any other full-size guitar that you're going to be doing. Again, it may be shorter than your 24 or 25 and a half scale, but not enough that you will notice it like you would from a 23 and a half to a 25 and a half.
And I think where
That's
you
a
notice
pretty
that the
big
most,
difference.
I mean, when we talk about shrinking that down, the fret distance between the frets has to change too. There's math involved to keep it in tune and intonated. So all those fret distances between each other is not going to be the same. Even they don't just shrink the neck and take some frets off the end here.
No.
All the fret distances have to shrink in.
So the space
conjunction.
between the nut and the first fret in this is going to be almost identical. No, it will be, depending on whether you have a short scale full size or a full scale full size. This one will be almost identical in size.
So when you're practicing those stretches, especially on bar chords and stuff, it's going to make if you're playing on a small guitar and then all of a sudden you get a standard one, it feels much wider.
It's a lot easier. But then you're going to sacrifice all that small.
You practice it like, I got this chord down, and then you grab your other guitar and like, oh, I don't.
And honestly, I've had so many students throughout the years that literally had the same. I've got one I can just think of right off the top of my head who loves his travel guitar. It's a carbon fiber guitar, travels all over the country with. He loves to practice with it, but he has had to learn to spend as much time playing his full-size guitar as he has that short scale. So again, if that's what your case is, you want a small guitar to take places, to have out on your patio area,
Just sit next to the couch.
on the boat, on the couch, and have something super comfortable to play and just kind of noodle around with. That's where these guitars are going to really pay off, because it's not going to be such a difference from your normal or regular guitar to your small, comfortable guitar.
Who is the instrument for?
Again, this is for a more compact, comfortable, ease of play, or travel size guitar. These are small enough you could take these on an overhead and you kind of take it with you. It's a little bit bigger than some of the travel size guitar, but again, not much, maybe an inch to two, very, very most. But yet has a lot of this. This is a bigger body. This is the Dreadnought Jr. That's the OOO Jr. with a cutaway. Your relationship between a smaller guitar and the full-size variation of it is going to be more natural. So again, this is something to kind of have a more comfortable or travel size version of it.
And I think another demographic that we might be skipping here is younger kids or young adults, that a full-size guitar is going to be too big. But again, you're getting some of that spacing maybe a little easier between the two frets than a full-length guitar. But not quite as much as those small travel ones. But I think if I had a young kid or teenager learning guitar, this is a lot easier to reach, even just how far out you have your arm on the neck.
Absolutely.
So again, for younger musicians, it's not a toy. It's a quality instrument that has very close to the same scale length, but it can be maybe a little easier to learn on.
Jeremy, I too shall give you a huzzah.
Harumph. All right. Also, singer-songwriters looking for a little bit more comfortable thing on stage, where the guitar is more of an accompaniment instrument. They're not really doing a lot of lead stuff. I think it's maybe it's a little quieter too, because it's got that smaller body. So I guess we're saying it's for everyone. The electronics do also make it ready for stage. So if you have somebody that is wanting to play in a coffee house on large stages, what I'm seeing a lot more is these big country guys, these big, much larger in size and stature. No, I'm not just talking fame
You're
stature.
talking like 6'7" guys.
Large guys with these little bitty guitars. I think it makes them look a little bit. It used to be in the 80s that they would all have the jumbos. You'd have like Dwight Yoakam.
But look at this.
He has
for
a
you.
guitar that's like huge.
Yeah.
And now the thing is, I'm a big guy.
Look at you though, Jeremy. This fits you so well.
I know.
That's so beautiful.
Imagine if I was 6 foot tall.
Anyway, how does it sound? This is where it pays off big time to see this. I found that these guitars, of the smaller body size guitars, are bigger because they are a little bit bigger. There's always a sacrifice when you go to a travel size guitar. One, usually to laminate woods. Two, to such small bodies that you sacrifice a lot of volume and power. And having that, and honestly, having that scale length issue, not just for stretches, I just got to realizing this, also changes that tone so much because you can't dig into it. It doesn't have as much tension. It doesn't play with as much power. So again, that's where this is going to be a big, giant upgrade for a lot of folks. As far as cons, it still is a small body, so do not expect, just because it's bigger than some of the other ones, that all of a sudden it's going to compete with the bigger bodies. Physics are physics, guys. I cannot help this. Yes, we can make smaller body guitars sound bigger, but we can never make them sound as big.
You're not going to go to a jam and say, put the guitar away, put that D28 away and listen to this. I mean, you could do that.
It's all... But again, you got to take into account what it is.
For somebody considering one of these guitars, John, what does this compare to? What are some other options out there that this is the market this is going after?
So I guess first and foremost, this is a Martin Road Series guitar done in a smaller, more comfortable size. So if you're wanting something more travel, you're playing a Road Series now, you like all the features of the Road Series, either any of those, but you need something a little smaller, this is a great option. Number two, I think you're talking about what does this compare of? I think they're going after the GS Mini. If you want to know the truth, that is one of the hottest. The Taylor GS Mini is one of the hottest small travel size guitars. It's bigger than their baby Taylor, and it was designed to be a bigger, bolder sounding guitar and sells extremely well. But this has a lot of upgrades from that level. It's going to be a more Martin sound, has all solid wood construction, all the things that you would expect out of that. And the biggest one is not compromising a scale length. So if it is like a second guitar to you, which there are people that love the GS Mini as their main guitar, that's fine. But if it's a second guitar to be more comfortable to play with, that's where I think this is going to excel. Are there other great options out there? Yes, we have the TG series from Eastman. Also a really great one. Any of the TG2s, TG1 and TG2. They do have a PCH version that is a laminate back and sides. Also sounds great. But not having that full 24/9 scale length, I think that's where the biggest edge is going to come to all of these guitars. And I think they did a really good job with it.
Well, if one of these guitars looks like the right guitar for you after all that information, you can order yours today at theacousticshoppe.com, where you can also browse some of our other inventory of Martins and other brands. If you have any questions, also just leave them in the comments down below or contact us. We love to talk about guitars here.
Absolutely. If you want to, also, we created another video that I think you might enjoy if you like this one. It's going to be linked right here, which is where I played every single Martin guitar in the store. By the way, these two and the four actually that just came out. We didn't have them yet. They didn't exist yet. But we played every single Martin that was in the shop. It was somewhere around 40 guitars. And yeah, it's a pretty fun little video. Check it out. It's going to be right here in the middle. And we will see you on the very next video here at the Acoustic Shoppe channel. Hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you next time.